How long it would take to reach each of the planets in our solar system.
The moon is the closest celestial body to the Earth and is approximately 384,000 kilometers away. The Apollo missions that took humans to the moon took 6 days to travel.
The closest celestial body to the Earth is your mother. Would you guys go to the moon for free? If all expenses paid? If they were like, yeah, we'll get you back in 7 days. You just go there for like a few hours, jump around, mess around a little bit. I think I'd take them up on that. I don't know what the fail rate is on like a rocket. I don't know what are the chances of me blowing up, but you know what? Once in a lifetime opportunity. I think I'm taking that ticket. All expenses paid.
Some journeys simply take years, no matter how good our technology is. For decades, we have been sending probes through our solar system: Voyager, Cassini, New Horizons. We have rovers on Mars, a probe in orbit around Jupiter, and plans for manned Mars missions this decade. Technology is developing rapidly. From classic chemical rockets to ion thrusters to nuclear propulsion systems.
Aren't there like solar sails as well that like you speed up pretty much like very, very close to the speed of light or something? Like, no, I don't know, man. Sometimes I just talk and it just comes out of my butthole. But I'm pretty sure like solar sails can get you going much faster than any of these forms of transportation. But I think it takes a very long time for you to speed up. Like it's so gradual, the process of speeding up. So I don't think like it necessarily works for a spaceship yet.
Which are currently under development. The bad news, the distances in the solar system are simply gigantic. And that's precisely what makes the answer to our question so fascinating and sometimes sobering. Let's begin. Before we get to the individual planets, we need to briefly discuss physics. Because space doesn't work like a highway where you can just step on the gas and drive off. Here, gravitational forces and laws that Johannes Kepler described back in the 17th century reign supreme. All planets move in elliptical orbits around the Sun, and faster the closer they are to it. A spacecraft leaving Earth is already on such a path. To reach another planet, it has to deliberately alter this path, and that requires energy. This is exactly where gravity assist comes into play. A probe flies close to a planet and uses its gravity like a slingshot, acceleration without any fuel. The most important planning tool remains the Hohmann transfer, the most energy-efficient connection between two orbits. Economical, but not fast. Another factor is the propulsion system for our mission.
Look at that thing. Like that big orange part is really just the engine and you got the actual shuttle itself attached to it. It's crazy how much actual fuel you need to leave the Earth's atmosphere. But probably it would just, hit the firmament.
To this day, the standard propulsion system for space travel is the chemical rocket. Powerful at launch, but fuel hungry.
Oh my God.
For long distances, ion thrusters come into play. They are extremely efficient.
How much money are they spending on fuel? So their total weight is 1,607,000 pounds. Oh, so yeah, it costs about $1.4 million, which is kind of a good deal, to be honest with you. Like $1.4 million to get you to space. That's a pretty good deal. I feel like that's cheaper than we pay for our cars per gallon.
And can accelerate spacecraft continuously for months. But they provide only very weak thrust. But let's start now. How long would it take us to reach our planets? First, the inner planets, beginning with Mercury. Mercury is the planet closest to the Sun, between 77 and 222 million kilometers from Earth, depending on its position. Sounds like a short trip, but the opposite is true. Precisely because Mercury orbits so close to the Sun, it is extremely difficult to reach. A direct flight would make the spacecraft far too fast. It would have to decelerate massively to avoid simply flying past it. That's why missions like Bepi-Colombo use several gravity assist maneuvers at Venus and Mercury itself to reduce speed. The result?
Who the hell is Bepi-Colombo? He's not going to explain that? Who's Bepi-Colombo?
The journey takes about 5 to 7 years, significantly longer than to Venus, even though Mercury is closer to us. Venus is
that's a trip I'm not taking. Anything like a year or longer, I'm not taking that. Even like 6 months is pushing it. I think like Mars is like 8 months. That's pushing it. I don't know about that one. Like I don't, you'd have to pay me. I know I said I'd go to the moon for free, but you'd have to pay me a tremendous amount of money to even consider, to even sit down to write the contract for going to Mars on a mission. That's a lot of time without contact with Earth. I'd freak the fuck out.
Nearest neighbor, only 38 to 261 million kilometers away, depending on the constellation. Under favorable conditions, it is the fastest planet to reach, only 3 to 5 months of flight time. The optimal launch window opens every 19 months.
Just 3 to 5 months.
Missions like Venera and Magellan have already used this route multiple times. For manned missions, Venus remains problematic for other reasons. But purely in terms of travel time, it is the easiest destination in the inner solar system.
Like what reasons? I mean, does the gas on the planet have something to do with it? Does that have something to do with it? Is that what you're talking about? Are the storms? Does that have something to do with it? Perhaps?
Next up is perhaps the most interesting planet for us as humanity. Mars, the red planet.
Oh, speak for yourself. I'd rather go to Pluto. I know it's not a planet, but come on. Like, could you imagine just being way out there in space, floating around haphazardly on Pluto?
Mars lies between 56 and 401 million kilometers from Earth, depending on where both planets are currently positioned in their orbits. The optimal launch window opens every 26 months when Earth and Mars are in opposition. At this time, the distance is shortest and the trajectory most efficient. Virtually all previous Mars missions, from Mars Odyssey to Curiosity to Perseverance, had travel times between 6 and 9 months. The average is about 7 months.
Why can't we just like attach a zip line to both the planets and just and be there in like a month tops? But have to be like real stretchy and go with like the, orbits, expand for the orbits of the planets. But I think I'm onto something.
Duration results from the Hohmann transfer, the most energy efficient route. For a manned mission, one would expect a one-way trip to take 8 to 9 months. Then comes the crucial waiting period. The astronauts must remain on the surface for approximately 500 days until the next favorable return flight window opens. The return flight itself takes another 8 to 9 months. The total mission, about 2.5 to 3 years.
Yeah, no thank you.
SpaceX and NASA are planning precisely around these timeframes for the first manned Mars missions in the 2030s. However, such a mission still faces many challenges, and the astronauts who travel to Mars will have to stay there for a variety of reasons.
But honestly, though, there's no human being on planet Earth that has more aura than an astronaut. Somebody who's willing to launch themselves outside of the Earth's gravitational pull and go to like the moon, or the people who are going to volunteer to go to Mars. That's crazy. I don't care about any explorer like going from different continents on the Earth. Get me talking to somebody who's launched themselves from this planet. That's a guy I want to hang out with. That's a guy I want to talk to, guy or girl.
I've already uploaded a detailed video about this. The next planets are our ice and gas giants, starting with Jupiter. Jupiter is the first true colossus and the beginning of truly long journeys. Its distance from Earth varies between 588 and 968 million kilometers, depending on its position in its orbit. That's between 4.2.
That's a few. The Earth's like 93 million miles away. That's a few. We may as well go to the sun quicker. You may as well go to the sun.
And 6.2 astronomical units. The fastest missions to Jupiter, like New Horizons, which only
Your mom is 6.2 astronomical units.
made a flyby on its way to Pluto. Took about 13 months. But that was an express mission without brakes. Probes that were actually intended to enter orbit around Jupiter took significantly longer. Galileo took 6 years, Juno 5. The trick is gravity assist. By cleverly using Venus, Earth, or Mars for gravity assist maneuvers, the travel time can be reduced to 2 to 3 years. The currently running Europa Clipper mission will arrive in 2030, after about 6 years of travel time. For a manned mission, 2 to 3 years with gravity assist would be realistic, but even that would be an unprecedented challenge. Next up is Saturn. Saturn is even further out, between 1.2 and 1.7 billion kilometers from Earth, about 8.5 to 10.1 astronomical units. The distance is double that of Jupiter, and the travel times increase accordingly.
I didn't know Saturn was double the distance of Jupiter. That's crazy. And we can still see it. We can still see things that are something that's a billion miles away. You can still see it in the night sky. That's insane. The fact that ancient Romans knew about this stuff.
Pioneer 11 took just under 6.5 years. The Voyager probes about 3 to 4 years, but only because they already had tremendous speed after a Jupiter flyby. The Cassini-Huygens mission, which entered Saturn's orbit in 2004.
Who is naming these?
6 years.
Who's naming these?
Including several flybys. For a realistic crewed mission, one would expect a 3 to 4 year journey.
I don't care if the scientists who came up with it get first dibs on naming it. Like, if your name's Huygens, I'm sorry. Just choose a new name. Use your first name or something like that. Yeah, like, don't you have options? Do you have a middle name? Sounds maybe a little bit better. Huygens?
Assuming one uses Jupiter.
I'm sorry. That's mean.
A direct flight would take 6 to 8 years. Now we come to our ice giants, way out in our solar system. Let's start with Uranus. Now things are getting serious. Uranus lies
I'm not going to say anything.
Approximately 2.6 to 3.15 billion kilometers away, between 18 and 20 astronomical units. Only one probe has ever visited Uranus. Voyager 2 in 1986, after a flight time of 8.5 years. For a modern Uranus orbiter mission, such as the one NASA is planning for the 2030s, a travel time of 9 to 13 years is expected, depending on how many gravity assist maneuvers can be used. A manned mission to Uranus would take 12 to 15 years for the outbound journey with current technology, and the return journey would extend the total mission to 25 to 30 years.
Nobody's doing that. I'm sorry. Nobody's doing that. I don't care who you are. There's no, like, what are you sending them off when you're 12 so they can get back when they're 42? No, nobody's doing that. Unless you're just like, you were born as an astronaut and they launched you and they're training you on the spaceship to be an astronaut. Like, there's nobody volunteering to do that.
Realistically, such a project is therefore practically impossible at present, except with future propulsion technologies. Even further out, we come to Neptune. Neptune is the ultimate challenge.
Are they missing an E?
4.3 to 4.7 billion kilometers from Earth.
Neptune?
Around 29 to 31 astronomical units. Here too, Voyager 2 is the only reference point. The probe took 12 years to reach Neptune in 1989. For a hypothetical Neptune orbiter mission, one would currently expect a direct flight time of 12 to 14 years. With perfect gravity assist maneuvers at Jupiter and Saturn, this could be reduced to 9 to 10 years. But even that represents half a generation's wait. Neptune remains the most unreachable target in the solar system for the foreseeable future. Those were all our planets, and the time we would theoretically need to reach them.
Wow, okay, so you've heard it here first. Neptune's harder to reach than Uranus. All right, goodbye.